Welcome to the deep dive. Ready to get into something kinda deep?
Always up for a deep dive. Let's do it.
Okay, so we're looking at John. It's a passage about why some people, even after seeing Jesus perform miracles, just couldn't accept him as the Messiah. And for those who maybe aren't as familiar with the term, Messiah basically means
The chosen one, the Savior.
exactly the promised Savior.
And it's this passage in John that provides a really profound look, a real window into the complexities of belief. Why doesn't seeing is believing always hold true? What is that about? It gets at the human heart of the matter.
So set the scene for us. What's the backdrop of this passage? What's happening?
Okay, so we're basically dropped into this intense moment. Jesus is out there performing these incredible miracles, healings, nature-defying stuff, things that you'd think would convince anyone.
Right, undeniable proof.
Right. But the passage makes this point. There were still many who saw these things, and yet they didn't believe.
It's mind-boggling. It's like, how could you see those things and not? So there's got to be something deeper going on than just, did they see a miracle or not?
It's a paradox, right? And the passage, it doesn't shy away from it. It even links this back to the prophet Isaiah, who lived centuries before Jesus.
Wow.
And Isaiah predicted this very thing.
Hold on. He predicted people wouldn't believe even when they saw God's power at work.
Exactly. It's like he was saying there'd be this internal resistance in some, even when confronted with the most amazing divine power.
Talk about a prediction. But what was it about Isaiah's prophecy specifically that's relevant here in this moment with Jesus?
It was more than just seeing the miracle. It was about fully understanding it, accepting it. It's one thing to see, another to really believe.
Right. It's like our minds, our own perceptions can be the biggest obstacle.
Absolutely. And the passage gets even more intense because it uses this very stark language. It says, God blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts.
Whoa, intense is right. Okay, so how do we interpret that? Is that literal?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Different theological views take different stances. Some see it as a literal action by God, but others, they see it more metaphorically.
Okay, I can see that.
It's about being blind to truth, about an unwillingness, maybe even an inability, to open yourself up to something new, something challenging, even when it's right there in front of you.
It's like they were physically looking right at the miracles, but their minds, their hearts just couldn't process it. Their worldview, their preconceived notions, it's like they blocked it out.
It makes you think, how often do we miss out on something incredible, something truly amazing, because we're so stuck in our own way of seeing things?
It's a sobering thought. But there's this other layer to the passage too, right? Social pressure. Because it also mentions these Jewish leaders who, get this, they actually did believe, but they were too afraid to say so openly.
Oh, absolutely. They were afraid of the consequences. Imagine that position, knowing in your heart what's true, but fearing the social fallout, the professional repercussions, if you dare to speak it. It's a timeless dilemma, isn't it?
It is. It's about conforming versus having the courage of your convictions, which kind of ties into this idea the passage brings up about the love of praise. What's that all about?
It's about this inherent human need. We crave validation from others, sometimes even more than we seek it from a higher power.
Meaning, in this context, these people were putting their social standing above their faith.
It's possible they prioritized fitting in, maintaining their position, even if it meant maybe facing judgment from God down the line for denying what they felt to be true.
Wow. The weight of other people's opinions, you really get the sense that this passage is about so much more than just one group of people in a specific time and place. It's really about the human condition, isn't it? It makes you think, how would we act? How brave are we in our beliefs?
It really does. It challenges us to look inward. What would it take for us to truly believe, especially when it goes against the grain, against what everyone around us accepts as truth? That's a question worth pondering long after this deep dive is over.
It really is. It's a lot to chew on.